Now, in the last topic we have done, what did we do? We did, first of all, we started with methods of expressing concentration. Then we did types of solutions, in which we did solid, liquid, solid and liquid, we did gas and liquid, okay? And then we did liquid and liquid. And liquid and liquid also we did the solutions which were miscible. Or miscible solutions पे हमने क्या किया था? We did the Reynolds law, right? Now today what we are going to do, that is the colligative properties. What do we understand by colligative properties? Colligative properties are those properties which depend upon the number of moles of the solute. Number of moles of the solute in a solution. अब ये जो solute हम इसमें ले रहे हैं, that solute it should be a non-volatile solute, right? Non-volatile solute means that which does not evaporate, okay? And thirdly, we have to keep in mind that colligative properties when we are discussing for dilute solutions. Dilute solutions means that the amount of solute should be very, very less as compared to that of the solvent. Okay, such properties, they are also given another name. They are also known as democrative properties. They are also known as democrative properties. Why democrative? Because you know that democracy depends upon the number of votes of the people. Okay? And it does not depend on anything else. Similarly, colligative property will also depend upon only the number of solute particles and it does not depend on anything else. So that is why we also call colligative properties and as what? Democratic properties. We are going to discuss 4 types of colligative properties. The first one, that is known as relative lowering in vapor pressure. Relative lowering in vapor pressure. Now, before studying the relative lowering in vapor pressure, let's understand the term vapor pressure. Okay, to understand the term vapor pressure, we take a closed container. Okay, and in this, let's say we are taking water and we are heating this water taken in a closed container. What will happen when temperature is increased, when the boiling point of water is reached, it will start converting into vapors. Okay, and the vapors, they can be seen above the liquid surface, right? These vapors, they touch the walls of the container and they condense back, isn't it? When they condense back, they will be converted back into water. So we say that there are 2 reactions which are taking place over here, or 2 phenomenon to be more precise which are taking place over here. The first one, that is known as evaporation, right? And the second one, which is known as condensation. Okay? So the amount of liquid which is being converted into vapors, that process will be known as rate of evaporation, and the amount of vapors which condense back to form the liquid, the process will be known as rate of condensation. Okay? Now at equilibrium we say, at equilibrium, rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction. So at equilibrium, rate of evaporation should be equal to rate of condensation. Okay. At this particular time, the vapors which are left above the surface, they start creating a pressure. And that is known as vapor pressure. So how do we define vapor pressure? It is the pressure exerted by the vapors of a liquid at equilibrium. Okay, so pressure exerted by the vapors of a liquid at equilibrium, that is known as vapor pressure. So this is the first colligative property which we are going to study, in which we will study that on adding a non-volatile solute to a solvent to form a solution, the vapor pressure that is lowered, right? The second colligative property which we will study, that is elevation in boiling point. Okay, the third one we will study is depression in freezing point, and the last one is osmotic pressure. So in this section we are going to study 4 of these properties, right? Now what is one of the major applications of colligative properties? One of the major application is that it helps us to calculate the molar masses of the non-volatile solutes, right? So we are saying that application of this is, the main application of colligative properties is to calculate the molar masses of non-volatile solutes. Now, in order to calculate the molar masses of non-volatile solutes, to get accurate results, generally the results which we get from here are not exact. Okay, but still, in order to get accurate results, the following conditions have to be fulfilled. What are those conditions? The first condition is that the solution should be very dilute. The solution should be very dilute, right? Second is that we have already mentioned the solute should be non-volatile. Okay, and the third one is that the solute particles should neither undergo association nor dissociation. Right? So the solute particles should neither undergo association nor dissociation, because if they undergo association, then the molecular mass which is calculated by colligative properties, it is going to be larger than the normal molar mass, and if it undergoes dissociation, then the molecular mass that is going to be less than the normal molar mass, right? So these are the 3 criteria which have to be fulfilled when we are studying or when we are calculating the molar masses of non-volatile solutes by colligative properties, right? So let's go on to the first colligative property today, relative lowering in vapor pressure. The first colligative property which we are going to discuss is relative lowering in vapor pressure. Now to do this, let's consider the Reol's law. According to Reol's law, if we are saying that we are taking a binary solution AB in which A is the solvent and B is the solute, right? Where A is the solvent and B is the solute, we say that the pressure of due to A, that should be PA, right? Because this is the solvent but this is a non-volatile solute. So in this case the pressure due to B, that is going to be equal to 0. Because non-volatile solute will not enter into vapor state, therefore it will not exert any pressure, right? Now total pressure P, that is equal to what? PA plus PB according to Dalton's law. Okay, so PA is equal to what? PA naught into XA and PB, that is equal to 0. So plus 0. So the total pressure that only depends upon the mole fraction of the solvent. Okay, PA naught is the pressure of the pure solvent and XA is going to be the mole fraction. Getting the like terms together, what will we get? P upon PA naught, that is equal to XA. Okay, subtracting both sides by 1. When we subtract both sides by 1, what are we going to get? 1 minus P upon PA naught, that is equal to 1 minus XA. Okay, so this can also be written as PA naught minus P upon PA naught, that is equal to 1 minus XA is equal to XB, right? So this is relative lowering. When PA naught minus P, when we are taking, let's say this P is equal to the pressure of the solution. So we are considering the first term, which is PA naught minus PS. This is known as lowering in vapor pressure. Right? And this is not a colligative property. When we are talking of only lowering in vapor pressure, it is not a colligative property. But when we take relative lowering in vapor pressure, that is, we are comparing the lowering in vapor pressure with the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So this entire term PA naught minus PS upon PA naught, this entire term, this is known as relative lowering in vapor pressure. Okay, this is known as relative lowering in vapor pressure. Now you can see over here that this entire term, it is only depending upon the mole fraction of the solute. Therefore, relative lowering in vapor pressure is going to be a colligative property. Right? So application भी क्या है इसकी? To calculate the molar mass of the solute, we know that XB, that is equal to what? NB upon NA plus NB. Okay, so over here, because we are considering that the solution is dilute, so in the denominator, because the value of NB is going to be very, very less, we can ignore NB in the denominator, right? So as the solution is dilute, we are ignoring the number of moles of the solute in the denominator such that XB, that becomes equal to NB upon NA. Right? What is the value of NB? NB is equal to WB upon NB. And NA is going to be equal to WA upon MA. So reciprocal. MA into WA. Okay, so over here we can calculate MB. The molar mass of the non-volatile solute can be calculated over here. Okay, is it clear? Alright, now the question comes, why the relative lowering of vapor pressure is taking place only in the first place. Why it is happening? Whenever we are adding a non-volatile solute, why does the vapor pressure of the solution be less than that of the pure solvent? Why does that happen? Let's see, there are 2-3 reasons given for this. Our question is that why vapor pressure decreases on adding a non-volatile solute. Right? This is our question. The first reason to this is that when we are taking a beaker and in that we are taking a liquid, the entire surface area is free for these solvent particles or solvent molecules to evaporate. When we add a non-volatile solute, certain surface area is obstructed by the molecules of the solute. Okay, so if the vapors they want to evaporate or the molecules of the liquid they want to evaporate, these are going to obstruct their path. As a result of which the vapor pressure that lowers, because the amount of vapors converted will also be less ना. तो अगर vapors less हैं तो automatically what will happen to vapor pressure? वो भी कम हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So one reason is this, that surface area for evaporation decreases. Right? Then what is the second reason? There is a scientist Graham. According to Graham's law, we know that rate of evaporation is inversely proportional to under root of density. Okay, rate of evaporation that is inversely proportional to under root of density. Now when a non-volatile solute is dissolved, what will happen to the density? Mass will increase. If mass increases, we know that density that is equal to mass upon volume. Okay, on adding a non-volatile solute, mass increases, therefore density also increases. So if the density is going to increase, according to Graham's law, what happens to the rate of evaporation? It is going to decrease. Right? So less vapors they are going to be formed. Have you understood? So these are the 2 reasons given. Now from this section, we are going to do certain numericals over here. But first of all, let's study the vapor pressure of liquid and temperature. What is the connection between vapor pressure of the liquid and temperature? It is quite obvious that as the temperature increases, the vapor pressure will also increase. Isn't it? Because rate of evaporation that will increase with increase in temperature. Okay? So we say that whenever any liquid is converting into vapor, and the reverse is vapor is converting into liquid, but when we are going in the forward direction, what happens to delta H vaporization? It is going to, because temperature is supplied, the reaction is going to be endothermic. So in this case, delta H vaporization that is going to be greater than 0. isn't it? Or it is going to be positive. So we say that vapor pressure increases with increase in temperature, and if we are drawing a graph of vapor pressure with temperature, the graph comes to like this. Okay, as the temperature will keep on increasing, the vapor pressure will also keep on increasing. If we are comparing two different temperatures to see what is the difference in pressures, then if we know the pressure at temperature, one of the temperatures, the pressure at the second temperature can be calculated by an equation which is known as Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Clausius-Clapeyron equation. According to this equation, we say that log of P2 upon P1, where P2 is the pressure at temperature T2 and P1 is the pressure at temperature T1. Okay? That is equal to delta H vaporization upon 2.303 R 1 upon, we are taking the temperatures now, 1 upon T1 minus 1 upon T2. Okay, now if both the temperatures are given to us, T1 is given to us, T2 is given to us, P1 is also given to us, we can calculate P2 by this equation. Okay, so this is an equation in which the relationship of pressure and temperature that can be given. Clear ho gaya? So let's go on to the questions now. First question is, that is, calculate the vapor pressure lowering caused by addition of 50 grams of sucrose. So 50 grams of sucrose means that WB given to us is 50 grams, right? With molecular mass of 342. So MD given to us in the question, that is 342 to 500 grams of water. WA given is 500 grams and MA, molar mass, that is equal to 18 of water. If the vapor pressure of pure water is 23.8, so P naught given to us is 23.8. Putting the Reol's law, we have P naught minus PS upon P naught, that is equal to WB upon MD into MA upon WA. Let's put the values. P naught given to us is what? What have they asked? Vapor pressure lowering. So first we have to calculate this. Vapor pressure lowering. In that case, we will not put the value of P naught over here. Right? So we have P naught minus PS upon 23.8. That is equal to WB given to us is 50. Molar mass of water is 18 upon 342 into, what is the weight given? 500. Right? Now when we go to calculate this, we get 0.00526. This is what we are getting. Okay, so what is going to be P naught minus PS? That is going to be equal to, this we take on that side, 23.8 into 0.0056. Okay, so this when calculated comes to mm of mercury. Now you have to be very, very particular whether in the question they have asked lowering in vapor pressure or relative lowering in vapor pressure. In this case they have asked us the lowering in vapor pressure. So that is why हमको यहाँ पे सिर्फ numerator calculate करना है. Okay? अगर relative lowering in vapor pressure बोला क्या होता? तो in that case what we would have done, this entire term had to be calculated. So उसमें इसको भी put नहीं करना है फिर. P naught minus Ps upon P naught, that is equal to XP. So XP that is equal to relative load again, vapor pressure. Got it? Okay. So let's go on to the second question. The second question is the vapor pressure of pure benzene at a certain temperature is 640. So they have given us P naught as 640 mm. Right? A non-volatile solute weighing 2.175 grams. WB is 2.175 grams is added to 39 grams of benzene. WA that is equal to 39 grams. Right? The vapor pressure of solution is 600 mm. So PS is also given as 600 mm. We have to calculate the molar mass of the solid substance. Okay, so again we put the Reol's law, P naught minus Ps upon P naught that is equal to WB into Ma upon Mb into Wa. Okay, what is P naught? P naught given to us is 640 minus 600 upon 640. That is equal to WB given is 2.175 into molar mass of benzene is 78. 78 upon Mb and Wa given to us is how much? 39. Okay, so when now we are calculating this will come as what? 640 40 upon 640 that is equal to, इसको जब हम calculate करते हैं then this is coming as 4.35. Right? And Mb will now come equal to 4.35 upon 40 into 640. Right? So when we calculate this, it is approximately coming to 69.6 grams. Okay, so this is how we calculate the molar mass. Let's go on to the question number 3. Question number 3. Question number 3 is calculate the vapor pressure of an aqueous solution which contains 5 mass percent of urea. So urea they are saying is 5%. So let's assume that it is equal to 5 grams. Okay. Then if this is 5 grams, then amount of water present will be what? 100 minus 5 is equal to 95 grams. Right? So this is urea is WB and amount of water that is going to be equal to WA. WB and WA are given. Then next what are they saying? The vapor pressure of pure water is 23.5. So P naught is also given as 23.5. Right? And molar mass of urea is 60. Molar mass of urea is given to as 60. So vapor pressure of an aqueous solution PS we have to calculate in this question. Let's put the law again. P naught minus Ps upon P naught that is equal to WB into Ma Mb into Wa. Okay. Now P naught given to us is how much? 23.5. So 23.5 minus Ps upon 23.5 that is going to be equal to 5 into Ma is 18 upon Mb is 60. It's given to you in the question and Wa is 95. Okay, so this comes to 0.015. When we calculate this, it is coming to 0.015. So 23 minus 5, 23.5 minus PS, that will be equal to 0.015 into 23.5, right? So this when calculated is coming to 0.371. So we have 23.5 minus PS, that is equal to, this when calculated is coming to 0.371. So PS over here, that will become equal to 23.5 minus 0.371. So PS when calculated comes to 23.13 mm. Have you understood? So how do we calculate PS? If rest of the things are given to us in the question, right? Then we go on to the next question 4. Question number 4. Question number 4 is a typical question for your competitors. The question given is, what is the lowering of vapor pressure due to a solute in 1 molar aqueous solution at 100 degrees Celsius? Ab ispe you can see nothing is given to us. Only they have given 1 molar solution. Now for that you will have to calculate the mole fraction first. और मोल फ्रैक्शन कैलकुलेट करने के लिए एक शॉर्टकट हमारा क्या था? मोलारिटी, दैट इज इक्वल टू XB into 1000 upon 1 minus XB into MA. ठीक है? From this you can calculate molarity. MA is what? Aqueous solution है तो MA is going to be 80, right? So we have molarity given to us as 1. 1 is equal to XB into 1000 upon 1 minus XB into 80. ठीक है? This term can come here. So we have 1 minus XB into 18, that is equal to XB into 1000. Okay, so this will become equal to 18 minus 18 XB. ठीक है? That is equal to XB into 1000. So when we calculate XB from here, XB comes to 0.0176. Right? Now we know that pressure is equal to what? According to Reynolds law, pressure that is going to be equal to PA naught into XA. ठीक है? And XA is equal to what? 1 minus XB. Right? So they have given us what? In the question they have given us the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Vapor pressure of water is going to be 760 mm of mercury. They have not given to us over here, but we are saying that we are taking it at STP. So vapor pressure of water, that will become equal to 760 mm. Okay, so you can put the value over here, 760. One minus XB, that will be equal to what? 0.9824. ठीक है? 1 minus 0.0176, that comes to 0.9824. So the pressure over here, that is equal to what? Pressure of the solution is 746.62. When you calculate this, 746.62 it is coming. And this pressure, that is equal to PS. ठीक है, because the pressure of the solution that will only depend upon the vapor pressure of the solvent. Then what is going to be lowering in vapor pressure? Lowering in vapor pressure is P naught minus Vs. P naught given to us is 760, so it will become equal to 760 minus 746.62. This when calculated comes to 13.4. ठीक है? That is what they have asked us in the question. Now, what is the loading in vapor pressure due to a solute in 1 molar aqueous solution at 100 degrees? So we have calculated XB first from the molarity equation. Molarity is equal to XB into 1000 upon 1 minus XB into MA. Okay, so उससे हमारे पास आ जाता है XB. XB is calculated as 0.0176. फिर PS is equal to PA naught into XA और XA is equal to 1 minus XB. PA naught is 760. Okay, into 0.9824 that comes to 746.62. So P naught that comes to 760 minus 746.62, that is equal to approximately 13.4. Got it? Okay. Then the last question which we are going to discuss. Last question is question number 5. What should be the mass of a non-volatile solute? Molecular mass 40, which should be dissolved in 114 grams of octane to reduce its vapor pressure to 80%. Okay, so over here let's assume that the vapor pressure of the pure solvent that is equal to 100. So the pressure of the solution PS that will be equal to 80%, means 80, right? Applying the Rayo's law, what will we get? Or let's calculate P. Total pressure that is going to be given as what? PA naught into P naught into XA, right? P given to us is 80 is equal to 100 into XA, right? So XA will become equal to what over here? 0.8. 80 divided by 100, that comes to 0.8, right? XA that is equal to what? Number of moles of A upon total number of moles, right? So number of moles of A, they have given us how much? Dissolved in 114 grams of octane. So Na will be equal to what? 114, and the molar mass of octane is also 114. So that becomes equal to 1, right? And Nb that is equal to WB upon molar mass, which is given to us as 40. Let's put the values over here. So we will have XA that is equal to 1 upon 1 plus WB upon 40. XA which we have calculated, that is 0.8. Let's take this entire term there. So we have 0.8 into 1 plus, that is equal to 1. ठीक है? Right? So let's take the reciprocal over here. We have 1 plus WB upon 40, that is equal to 1 upon 0.8. From here, can you calculate WB now? Let's take the LCM. 40 plus WB, that is equal to 1 upon 0.8. Let's take 40 that side. So 40 plus WB, that is equal to 40 upon 0.8. This will become equal to 50. 40 divided by 0.8 will be 50, na? So 40 plus So WB will become equal to 10. Right? So these are two questions which generally are from your competition point of view. Have you understood it here? Okay.